Hello, bridge builders! I'm here with some exciting news. The first volume of interviews is now available on Amazon.com. The link can be found at eatlunchandboardgame.com. I promise that all proceeds from sales of this book will go right back into this podcast and channel. Whether that is new and better audio equipment for the podcast or video equipment for the YouTube channel, or even more games to review, the money will not be wasted. Click over to Amazon and get your copy of Eat Lunch and Board Game, the first course today. And thank you for supporting the show. In this interview, I talk with Dustin Dobson, the designer of one of my new favorite 18-card games from Button Shy Games, The Skulls of Sedlic. We also talk about how he has been to the actual Chapel of Sedlic in the Czech Republic. We also talk about how he himself has built a bridge over board gaming via the Discord channel for Button Shy Games. His day job, other games he has made, and games he has coming out are other topics of discussion. Alright, welcome back to Eat Lunch and Board Game. I'm your host, Adam Collins, and with me today I have game designer Dustin Dobson. Dustin, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm glad you came on the show. As I did a review on Skulls of Sedlic a couple weeks ago, and the game flat was amazing. It was one of those games that I backed on Kickstarter at the print and play level like I do so many games. I'd already printed it all out. It was all just sitting in my print and play box, which is sitting here right next to me. But I thought, I got all the expansions on the second Kickstarter. I was like, I should probably play this game, and I loved it. Such a fun game, such a quick game. And my son, as he normally does, whooped up on me the first 3 games. So immediately I thought the game was broken, right? Get beat by a 9-year-old 3 straight times. There's something wrong with the game. So, but then I finally got him. Then we started playing with the expansion packs. All a lot of fun. But where did you come up with the idea for the name Skulls of Sedlic?
Yeah, so this was my entry. So this title was my entry into one of Button Shy's challenges. They put on some design challenges. And the specific challenge was design an 18-card wallet game, kind of their niche, the low wallet games that Button Shy is known for. Create an 18-card wallet game based on a real-world location. So I've done some traveling. My wife and I actually took some time off to go backpacking for a couple of years. This was 2011 to 2013. And one of the places we went to was the Czech Republic. And in the Czech Republic, there is this actual church called the Sedlec Ossuary, kind of like almost like the Paris catacombs. They have these stacked bones in there. It's a kind of a small ossuary, or a place where, like, underneath this chapel, they have all these bones that they stacked up into these crazy pyramids. These monks did back in like the Middle Ages, and then kind of like 200 years later, a woodworker, like the royalty, hired a woodworker to come in and rearrange these bones into these crazy shapes and whatnot. So got to visit this really interesting place, the Sedlec Ossuary in Czech Republic, during our travels. And when this came out, like, this challenge came out, design a game based on a real world location. This is one of the few spots that popped up in my head. I gotta maybe gotta make a game out of this. So.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know it was a real place until I was doing a little bit of research for my podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, this place is real. And then I just kept going down the rabbit hole. But that is awesome. So this is a place you've actually been.
Actually took photos. It was pretty incredible. Yeah. And it's, it seems pretty macabre, when you talk about it. But when you're there, like, it's pretty interesting art, right? Like, it's pretty well done, and it's so it's more fascinating, I guess, than disturbing, or it was to me, at least. So we didn't go too dark with the theme or whatever, kept it pretty light. But yeah, just tried to create a little game about this. So
I appreciate the fact that it didn't go dark, it didn't go grotesque. The artwork on it's also just perfect. that it fits the like that theme, like you were saying. It didn't go macabre, it didn't go grotesque, it didn't go any direction too far, but it also wasn't this lighthearted, cartoony, ha 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 ha. It was a good balance. So I really did enjoy it, even if I don't win it that much. Um, I'm going to start playing the solo version. Maybe I can beat the solo version.
There you go. Yeah, solo, pretty fun little kind of variation on the standard gameplay. So.
Yeah. So how did you get into gaming?
Oh man, so I mean, as a child, played a lot of the classic games with my family. Monopoly, chess, poker, gin rummy, all like the kind of standard kind of family games. Eventually, I got introduced to, I think so. Dungeons and Dragons was probably my first foray into like more heavy, more interesting kind of gaming, role playing, and whatnot. And then from there, I I actually got into designing and started designing my own role playing game with some of the neighborhood kids. I was 10, 11, 12 years old when I started this, probably, and created whole systems, whole worlds, and really enjoyed that. And I didn't immediately jump into game design as my career after that. I ended up going into art. And specifically, I went into video games. So I've had a career in video games over the last 22 years or so, um, through just a lot of different companies as an artist for about half of the time. The first half, I was an artist, and then for the second half, a producer. So right now, I'm my day job. I'm a producer, a senior producer for Santa Monica studio, a Sony studio, and we're working on the next God of War Ragnarok right now. So I work with like a team of gameplay engineers and kind of help manage their schedule and project risk and all that fun stuff. But it was, and obviously that's great. I love it. But on the side, my hobby, my passion has more recently turned to designing these board games and small card games. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, your other card game through Button Shy / P&P Arcade is Rove, which I found out I am also not good at. But it's one of those games that's frustratingly fun. You're trying to program, you're trying to use the cards and move things around and trying to get certain patterns to complete the missions. And it's seven to win. I have not. I've gotten 4 one time. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me and why I can't get past that. But
it's definitely a game you can take your time with. You want to be super efficient with. If you race through it, it's going to be tough.
I
But
feel like there's a way to win every time, but only one path to victory. And once you make one wrong move, it's over. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
it was a really fun one to design, and I remember these moments where, so that one Skulls of Sedlec I designed on my own. More recently, all the games that I've been working on, I've been co-designing with another designer, Milan Zivkovic, and Rove is a game that we created together. And this game, I remember these moments of like us designing this gameplay, and once we had the core game kind of figured out, it was pretty tough. But then I watched Milan play this game, and he played our prototype, and he was just doing moves I didn't even think of. I didn't think were like it's really cool as a designer to see something like that happen and see kind of these surprising things about the design that you built. And I watched him, and I realized the gap in skill that even we had as the designers of game, and now that's propagated out to everyone who's playing the game now. And some people are basically winning the game every time and probably think the game is too easy, and other people are saying, man, this game is so hard. So there's a large I guess skill like
Spectrum.
different skill levels and
Yeah,
different
there you
people playing
go.
this game.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it's
on
fun.
the lower end.
You can get better. I promise you.
I've
I've gotten better. I'm now as good as Milan at the game, more or less, and I can win the game every time almost. So
I feel like there's some strategy that I just haven't quite grasped yet. There's some other moves. Like I'm not thinking far enough ahead. Like, which is also my problem in chess. My son plays chess and has for years, and he beats me on the regular. So, but it's because he can see those moves ahead, and I feel like in Rove, you've got to be looking at it and think, okay, if I do this, then I do this, then I do this, and all of a sudden, and then I got a piece where I need it. Whereas I'm like, I move this here. Okay, now what? But I've
Yeah.
got you've got to string those together.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some really good combo moves. People doing things to set them up, set themselves up for the next mission. Right? There's all kinds of things, little things that you can sometimes do to really kind of improve your chances. I think Milan gave some very good basic advice the other day to someone on the Button Shy Discord who was playing the game, and he suggested. At least for the base game, standard, you draw 5 cards. If you can do every mission by using just one ability, one special ability, and one movement card, you'll be in a pretty good spot to win the game. So that would be like maybe a little sub goal is as you're playing, try to do just one movement card, use one movement card only, and one of your module special ability or less if possible to try to beat that mission. If you can, because you get to draw a new mission card, you should be able to do pretty well. And those abilities are pretty powerful, and usually there's something
Yeah,
there that can help you out quite a bit. So
I can't remember which one it is. One of the cards that can go as far as it wants to, but it has to go over at least one.
yeah, everybody
That's
loves coil. Coil is that
coil.
module.
That is the one that always gets me. I'm like, but I don't need it to go over anybody. I need to just go up one, just up one. But there's no. So I'm like, well, okay. So I've got to. But which way do I it's that one that gets me every time. It's not. It's never where I need it, and I can never move it. So
You're not alone. That is definitely the trickiest one
yeah,
for everybody.
at least I'm failing like everybody else, and I'm not like off in a whole other region of failure. So if I came to your house right now, well, or later when it's not COVID times, what is your current favorite game? What game is out on your table?
Oh man, I got a couple that I've been enjoying lately. I really like the design of Quacks of Quedlinburg. Just
I
such a
finally played that for the first time. That game is a riot.
It's great. I love just the simplicity of it, the push your luck kind of like feeling of like do I keep going? Do I stop? Right? And then and how you have a little bit of control over that, like through your choices. So that's just really fun one that I've been really enjoying. Really like the design and the maybe the more heavier one I've been playing more recently is with a friend was Lost Ruins of Arnak. So
Yep. I have not played that yet.
that's a really fun kind of crossover between kind of light deck building and worker placement with a fun little theme wrapped around it. So really been having fun just kind of playing through that one and kind of seeing what they're doing right. Oftentimes I play these games and I come at it from like a designer or engineer perspective, like looking under, trying to see how it ticks, what's making it work, what's fun, what is making this fun, right? And how can I apply that to my game somehow one day?
Absolutely, absolutely. Quacks though, I really enjoy that game. Like the push your luck mechanic with because you're building your own bag, right? So you're building your own doom. You're trying to you're like, oh man, there's no way I have so many in there that's not going to blow up, and then you just draw it anyway. So
Yep.
it's like Clank when you're like, oh, I've only got 2 Clank in the whole bag, I'm fine. Yet nope, there it is every time.
I love those moments where it's like not gonna happen. I'm good. And just
No.
it just smacks you with reality, like
Yeah.
there's still a chance. Like, you're Dumb and Dumber. You're saying there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance. Oh man. So do you play board games at lunch with your coworkers before when you actually went to the office?
Yeah, we would play. I think a lot of times we played Dominion. It was just a quick one to kind of jump in and play. We'd also play sometimes after work too. But yeah, for lunch, either we would play Dominion. This is now a couple of years ago
Oh yeah.
when we were
Well,
doing
yeah.
this together.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't that though, I would have my own prototypes and ask people to play my own
Hey.
prototypes and see what
there is nothing wrong with it. You've got a captive trapped.
Yeah,
I call them captive. They're trapped, right?
they're trapped.
Audience, like, hey, you want to play a game? It's mine today.
It's mine
But
today.
yeah, and but that's where we play tested our game, and the advantage we had a large group, like 8 or 10 people that would kind of rotate. We had like the core group of like 3 or 4, but then we'd have people rotating in and out all the time, and they all play differently, which really lets you get a lot of good play testing and a lot of good feedback because this guy's going to try this strategy, this guy's going to try that strategy, she's going to do this strategy, and you see what works, what doesn't, what's broken, what needs to be beefed up or toned down. So it's great to have a group of coworkers that you can allow to see under the hood and help you get the game where you need it to be. So Dominion that's a good 60-minute game. Yeah, do you have a good 30-minute game if you're only going to take a lunch half hour?
Oh man, so uh, we would play Dominion. We could get it down to 30 minutes sometimes, but I think
Oof.
uh, we we had some some fast players that knew the
Yeah.
game pretty well, knew exactly what they were going to do. Probably not at lunch, but a good 30-minute game ish that I've really enjoyed is Medium, more of a party game. I don't know if you've played that one, but it's a mind reading, like 3, 2, 1, where you say a word and then you try to find the word between those words after that, right? And 3, 2, 1, you do it again, right? And really fun little game where you're trying to like get on the same wavelength as someone.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, check it out. It's fantastic. In fact, we hardly ever play with like the rules and the scoring. It's just the
Oh, yeah.
interaction. The interaction itself is super fun, and you just like, you're just like, we got this, you and me, right? Like you play to the person to your right, and then you play to the person to your left, and it goes around in a circle, right?
It sounds like a game you play with your wife, and she's like, "Why aren't you getting my word?" And you're like, "I don't know."
And it's really funny because there are then personal connections, and it's like,
Oh, sure.
beach and like wallet, you put those things together, they mean totally different things to different people, right? And so you might have some inside connections and that can help you with the game. But then sometimes people just miss altogether. They just go on totally different tangents, and then you make it impossible to kind of guess. It's a super fun game. Check it out, called Medium. Really really enjoyed that one.
Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna be fighting that one for sure. That sounds like a great light, like you said, party game, perfect for that. Oh my
Yeah, like
gosh.
instead of like code names or just
Oh
one or something like that, play this one. So
yeah.
it's a fun little one.
Oh my gosh. What a great. Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. People start yelling at each other. Why aren't you thinking the same way I'm thinking? Because you don't want to be thinking like I'm thinking.
Yeah, got a good filter going on up there usually.
So how about a guilty pleasure game, a game or a hidden gem, a game that
Oh,
you don't think gets enough attention?
oh man, I don't. There's a game called Crossing, and it's this silly little game I always play with my like nephews or nieces, but also a great little fun little party game for adults. It's basically you have like these little little lily pads, and you put these little gemstones on there, and there's different colored gemstones, and they have different scoring at the end of the game. But it's one of those games. It's like 3, 2, 1. Again, everyone point at a pile, at one of these pads, these little mushroom pads or lily pads or whatever they are. And if you both point at the same one, you bounce and no one gets it. If you point at only one that no one has, you take all those gems and you put it onto your own little score pad, like little tile. And so you're trying to guess what other people are going to go for, what you need. Now here's where it gets fun. The next round, people can now point at your own tile and steal all of your gems. And so to counter that, you can cover your gems and protect them, but then you lose out on the next turn. You don't get to participate in the next turn, but you bank those gems if you keep them. So it's just this wonderful, crazy, kinetic interaction of all these people just like trying to grab all these gems and get the most points. I mean, this is the most simple game in the world, but it's super, super, super fun. And
Oh man.
it's like a children's game basically, but it's just so much. And
Hey,
anyone can have
so's
fun.
Rhino Hero Super Battle, but come on. You
I
get a
love
bunch of adult.
my yeah, exactly. My nephew would just steal my wife's gems every single time and then run around the room screaming. It's just like every single time. Oh, I
Well,
loved it.
there he goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of colors, if you play a game that has colors in it, is there a certain color that you have, your go-to color?
So I mean, blue is my favorite color, but I always find that I really enjoy letting other people pick first. So I try to make sure other people. I try to be a host in that way. If someone wants a color, I give it up freely. I don't fight for colors.
Well, it's noble of you. It's very
Yeah.
kind of you to
Uh,
allow other people to have your favorite color.
for me, a lot of the enjoyment around gaming is making sure other people have an enjoyable time gaming, right? And not saying that I don't play to win. I do play to win, but I make sure like everyone understands the rules. Make sure everyone, if someone is a little frustrated, help them out, right? So let's
No, because if
take
they
that
if they
into
have a good time, because you're gonna have a good time, you're there to make sure everybody else does, and when they do, they want to play more games, which just gives you more opportunities to play with them in the future.
exactly.
So, real quick, Klaus Teuber's game, The Settlers of.
Catan.
All right, sweet.
I don't know what is the
Oh,
correct
that's
way.
right. That's right. That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that's right. That's the way. A lot of people say Catan. So yeah,
No,
it doesn't even sound right, does it?
there's probably been times I said it that way too.
It's
But
like
yeah,
Caribbean and Caribbean. It's like
yeah.
fair way. Depends on how I'm using it in the sentence. So before we started recording, we were talking about Kickstarter. So two of your games at least have been up there, Sedlick and the expansion pack. So are you a backer as well?
Yeah. Backed a few things, not a ton. I don't have a ton of time for games right now in between designing games uh, and my day job working on God of War. It takes up a lot of my time, so have very
I
very
can
little time.
imagine.
Very little time for games, and I also have a friend that just backs everything, so I just get him to come over with his games. So
That's I'm that friend.
the collector, right? So I'm just like, Ben, you should get
Yeah,
this, and I know he'll get it every time.
yeah. It's unfortunate. Yeah, I really tried to tone down my backing, and I literally whatever the last game was I just backed. I got an email saying, "Congratulations, you're a super backer," and I'm like, "Darn right I am." And then I'm like, "That's you have to back like so many at a certain dollar value in like 12 months." And I'm like, "Oh man,
Yeah,
my wife's present credit card."
I tend to back the like a few games that really intrigue me. There's something special about them, right? And I'm not into like tons of minis or collector's editions, whatever. I just want something interesting gameplay wise or thematically, something really interesting. So yeah, every now and then something kind of strikes my fancy, and I go for it. Um,
I,
yeah,
I always get the email that Jason Tagmeyer is launched a new game, and I'm like, well, there's something I could go back real quick, and I just
yeah,
head over there and grab it. He's got one up right now. Gosh, I
yeah.
can't
They
remember what
just
it's
started
called.
their wallet line of
It's the
18
art.
card wallet line RPGs. Like,
Yes, RPG. That's what it is. It's
so I guess this is it. Is the
yes,
latest one?
yep. Already backed it. It's
Yeah, definitely a really interesting one, right? Like so.
yeah, it's a definite different turn for them. I like what they do over there. I've never really been disappointed with the games that I've gotten. Some have been played a lot. Like Universal Rule is my probably my favorite game. But I'll tell you, between Universal Rule and Arcane Bakery Clash, Skulls of Sedlick is up there easily in the top 5 of my games from Button Shine. I've got a lot of them. And I think what
Awesome.
again back to Skulls, what I really like about it is your expansion pack, all the different skulls that you can add to it, just changing just that little bit, just adding that little change. Like now we have executioners,
Hmm.
so he wants to be next to all of his handiwork. So just line them up next to the criminals. But that doesn't have to change your gameplay because you can still get the priests with the criminals and be scoring a bunch of points.
Yeah, try to kind of think of all the different ways we can change up the gameplay and allow you to kind of like keep it fresh, adding in another little like skull expansion, 6 cards, and um, so yeah, man, this game, it started out as an 18 card wallet game. We added solo, which added some cards, right? That's a new mode, and then with the latest Kickstarter, with the latest expansion collection, we're basically up to like 70 something cards for the whole set. And people seem to be enjoying it, and
No,
so,
it's fantastic. I do think one of the funnier cards you should have done with the champions was the champions champion.
well, stay tuned. You might.
It would have really like thrown some stuff crazy, like a champions champion.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. There might be something like that on the horizon.
Hey, I'm all for
or
it.
Something.
There you go. I'll tell you. It is a lot of fun. I love the artwork. There was a lot of thought put into the graphic design of that game because all of them are different. They all have other distinguishing features. The little shield's different in every one of them. The color backing, whatever kind of adornment the skull has. So it's very colorblind.
Yeah,
friendly.
That was really important to me to make sure it was very easy. Like the icons are really big. Make sure it was color wasn't the only distinguishing factor. There was double coating everything, so it was really easy to tell. Yeah, I actually did all those shields myself. I'm a little bit of an artist and graphic designer as well. Like I was in the video game industry for 10 years as an artist. Yeah. All the Rove art is my art and Milan's art as well. So that's pretty fun.
So I have you to blame for the coil mocking me all the time?
Yes, for everything. Both how it looks and how it plays.
Well, at least I know where to put my anger. Oh man, that game, it's fun, but man, I am just not good at it. I keep trying. I don't know where my deck is. I probably got mad at it and put it away.
If your son knows chess, he'll probably be able to give you some pointers.
I'm sure if I hand it to him, he'll beat it and be like, "What was so hard, Dad?" You just think 5 moves that you just think about 5, 6, 7 moves ahead, and you got this.
Easy.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I should definitely get him Rove and let him play that. And be like, here, figure this game out, and then tell me how to do it because 4 is my record.
Have you played you've played Onitama?
I have not. I've seen it in the store, and that's the one where it's like 1v1 like that.
It's like a much more simplified but very elegant in terms of like the every game is different because there's different movement sets that you'll get through cards, but it's a really elegant little chess-like design, really fun. So if you enjoy chess, your son enjoys chess, that's a fun little one to check out.
He enjoys chess. So you said you had a couple games coming out soon on Kickstarter, hopefully.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, there's the Skulls of Sedlec expansion collection and reprint that I think is gonna. So this is with Button Shy. That'll be that campaign's already over. I think they're gonna be fulfilling that here pretty soon, the next few weeks. So I think probably sometime in late February, March, April, something like that. So excited to see that out finally and see people playing. After that, we got a bunch of things going on right now. So this is me and Milan Zivkovic. So some of the games we designed. So we have Rove came out. So also with Button Shy. So that came out last Black Friday. And we have a big expansion collection, similar to what we did with Skulls of Sedlec, where we give you kind of 3 new expansions for the game. This is like mostly mission pack expansions and probably some other freebie expansion material as well. So just new mission cards, new mission patterns, new movement cards. Each movement card for a mission pack adds a new little twist to the game. So keep things again fresh and exciting and fun, and hopefully add more challenge to your game like I know you need.
Yeah. I have the first one that I haven't printed it off yet because I'm like, let me figure out the game first before I print off the expansion. What was that one called?
Fascinating Flora. Rove.
Fascinating Flora. Yeah.
Fascinating Flora. So the next, Rove. I'm not exactly sure when the next Rove expansion collection Kickstarter will be. I think it'll be Button Shy's next Kickstarter. I think that's the current schedule. So they're currently doing, I guess this is it. And I think their next Kickstarter, whenever that will be, I believe, the Rove expansion collection. So looking forward to seeing that one out. After that, we have a really big game with Button Shy called Battle Crest, and this is one we've been working on for quite a while now, me and Milan. And this is actually an 18 card wallet game, skirmish battle style. Like, you have a character, you have your little character set, you're fighting against another character, and you're fighting on a map, moving these cards around. Like spatial, like attacking using your action cards. So similar to perhaps like Summoner Wars or Unmatched, like these type of games, but in the 18 card format. So,
but in 18 cards.
18 cards. Well, the base game's 18 cards, but it's highly expandable. So, we're currently working on new designs for expanding new maps, new characters. So it's a big system, a lot going on. It's in playtesting right now, and people are enjoying it. But it's definitely a heavier game. It feels like a big tactical game. It still plays pretty quickly, but it has that feeling of like a big tactical, like miniatures game, but in an 18 card format. Highly expandable. Lots of content planned right now. So really excited about that one.
Awesome.
So we'll see. Yeah, hopefully people are excited about that concept. It's definitely kind of a new idea. Like, it's combining, usually when you think of wallet games, you think of super quick, super light, fairly simple games with some depth maybe. This is actually, it's a meatier game, tucked inside that wallet. So
that sounds great.
Yeah, super excited about that. It's been a really fun system to build out. So that's also with Button Shy, and that I think will be later this year, hopefully sometime, the Kickstarter for that. And then we also have a small prototype that got signed by a Spanish publisher called Witches of Wickville, and I think that's going to be coming to not Kickstarter, but to Verkami, which is it's a Spanish crowdfunding platform. And so this will be a Spanish-only release. I'm not sure if they'll be shipping to the US or maybe there'll be a PNP option. I'm not sure. It is kind of language independent, and we do have English rules, so we'll see what they do for that. But that was a fun little kind of this little head-to-head kind of two-player battle game combo. You kind of like pulling off these little combos, attacking each other, but it's not really spatial. It's more like you kind of going around a circle of cards, kind of doing things. That was a fun little game. It's about witches kind of like trying to send the other ones, send the other coven, back to trying to break the curse sort of thing. So yeah, that could be like within the next couple of weeks or so. So excited to see that one as well. We have a lot of other things too we're working on, but
there's never a dull moment.
Right now.
Never a dull moment. So how did you meet Milan?
Oh, actually, so I saw that he was entering in some really kind of neat ideas to also the Button Shy design challenges that we spoke about before. They were kind of putting them on like monthly or every couple of months for a while. That. And so he was pretty active on the Button Shy Discord, submitting these designs. Really liked some of the stuff he was doing. It was pretty off the wall, kind of really neat kind of angled stuff. And he was also a graphic designer. And so I thought it would be a good pairing. And we started talking and just throwing out ideas. And it was pretty quick after that. We just started designing and prototyping and playtesting. And, and then we started getting our games signed and published. And we're like, okay, I guess this is working. We'll keep going. So,
yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So really great to work. He is in Serbia and I'm in Los Angeles. So you asked what games we play at lunchtime. We play our own games because that's one of the few times of day we can actually. It's his evening. He's about to go to bed, and I have my couple hour lunchtime window, and we just play a quick. That's our design time. That's our main design time, like in terms of getting together. So, yeah. A lot of prototyping.
Time zones are fun to play with, aren't they?
Absolutely.
I keep trying to figure out a game that revolves around time zones. because I'm terrible at them, and which I shouldn't be. But I grew up in Indiana where we didn't even like we just had like our own time zone. So like half the year we were with Illinois and half the year we were with Ohio. And now I live in Missouri, so I always have fall forward or fall back and spring forward and all that. But
Yeah.
in Indiana, it was always we never changed times, and so it was really I don't do very well. So you're like, oh, I'm in LA, and I'm like, okay, so that's 2 hours difference, but it's earlier there than it is here.
Right.
I'm later, okay. And so I'm like, man, there should be a game about time zones or something. Because I'd be terrible at it probably, but I could design a game I could never win.
There you
But
go.
that's awesome.
I'm from Arizona, and they don't change they don't observe daylight savings time, so it's always never changes. Then obviously moved out eventually and got to experience that. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Why do we really have to do it? Maybe we shouldn't do it.
I'm always like, can we just stop where we are?
Yeah.
Can it just be this time?
Yeah.
No, that's funny. I didn't realize Arizona had its own time zone too.
Yeah, it's just they just switch, I think, between like Pacific and Mountain time zones because they don't change. So
yeah. Indiana was the same way, Central and Eastern. Yeah. Am I getting an extra hour of sleep or am I losing an hour of sleep?
Exactly. I aspire to one day not have to worry about time zones at all. Somehow, break free.
There you go. I'm in the time zone of me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure how that would float. But that's awesome that you guys met over Discord. He's in a whole different country, in a whole different hemisphere, and working it out together. That's great.
Yeah.
As I always say, board games build bridges, and that's that's a heck of a bridge. But yeah,
absolutely. Really excited I'm excited for cons again and be able to go back to cons and hang out with people and play games together again, right? Like,
oh yes,
just have to get COVID behind us hopefully one day, or able to manage and live with it, right? If that's what it will be, and then finish my day job, God of War Ragnarok, so I can get back out again.
That's a pretty big day job.
It takes a lot of my time. It's a big game.
I can imagine. Actually, I can't even imagine. That'd be insane.
I mean, it's
that's
like
cool though.
It's like 500 people working on that game, right? So I have like the extremes in gaming, right? I'm working on one of the biggest games in the world, right? And then I go, it's like, no, I want to work on the smallest games that can fit in a wallet, just 18 cards.
So how can I get Gods of War into 18 cards?
There's a way, somehow. Licensing is probably the biggest issue.
I can see that being a kind of a little hiccup there for you. Yeah. Oh man, that is definitely a different side of the industry there. God of War, huge video game. Rove, small solo game.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Extremes. Yeah. Well, Dustin, I'd like to thank you for being on my show today. I want to thank you for making Skulls of Sedlic. That game is just awesome. I'd love to see your pictures of the actual cathedral or church ossuary.
Yeah, I'll send you a link after this.
That's incredible. Like, because that was one thing as I was doing my prep for the episode, and I was on the Wikipedia page, and then I'm going to Google image search, and I'm going through all these pictures. I'm like, this is incredible. And then you're like, yeah, I was just there, and I'm like, of course you were. That is awesome. I learned a lot actually, like what an ossuary was, and that the Sedlic was a real place in the Czech Republic. So, but that is awesome.
Try to add some of that flavor on the solo cards. If you look at the solo cards, you'll see little text blurbs about the history of the location. So kind of added a little bit of flavor to that. That was nice.
I've got them all downloaded. They're just not printed off yet. But I've got them all. If it has Skulls of Sedlic, I've got it.
I'm glad you finally were able to get it to the table and enjoy it.
Oh man, well, it's so funny because and I had the same problem with a couple other games that I got them. I paid the money. PNP Arcade is addicting, especially with, like, I think it was like $9 or something like that to get like the whole game of Skulls of Sedlic and all the expansions and everything. And then you just like, oh, it's $9. Why wouldn't I not buy it? And then you buy it, and then and then you print them all off, and then it just sits. And then the expansion pack came, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got that base game printed off somewhere. And so then I was like, well, I might as well play this. It's 2-person. Hey, hey, son, come over here. Show me how to, just beat me real quick in this game. But
Happily.
no, yeah, no problem, Dad.
Well,
I got this defeat. No worry. And so, like I said, we sat down, we played it. We played it 3 times without even getting up. Just reshuffle the deck, reshuffle the deck, reshuffle the deck. And then we started playing the expansions. And yeah, I mean, it's a great game. I had a lot of fun with it. My son likes to play it. I need to print off the solo ones for him so he can keep working his way through, because he'd play it solo. He plays a lot of those wallet games have solo variants on them.
yeah,
So
a lot of them do.
I'll give him Rove. Here, figure this game out. So if anybody want to reach out to you, Dustin, how can they do that?
Yeah. So Twitter is probably the best way. I'd say Twitter and Discord. So I have we have our own Discord channel. So if you want to check out the games that Milan and I are designing and prototyping and sometimes putting out our own playtests, you can check out our own Discord channel. I guess I can probably give you a link to that afterwards if you don't have it already. And then you can also find me on the Button Shy Discord. I'm often there around. So you can pop into like the design channel on the Button Shy Discord channel. And Twitter is always an option too. So I'm at Dustin Dobson, at DustinDobson. So you can follow me there as well.
And as usual, you can reach out to me at eatlunchandboardgame@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/eatlunchandboardgame, or visit my website, www.eatlunchandboardgame.com. And remember, board games build bridges.
Stay in tune with all things sports around Indiana and the nation with the Crash Course Podcast. Each week, we tackle the big storylines from the world of the Colts, Pacers, and the Indiana college scene, while also keeping a pulse on the nation. We record live weekly at twitch.tv/3C Media and can be found on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever podcasts can be heard. You can catch the Crash Course Podcast.
When you're gaming, why not be comfy? Go over to supportplayer.org. Click on the cards, pieces, and dice to get some merch. These t-shirts are some of the most comfortable I have ever worn. That's supportplayer.org, and there's a link on eatlunchandboardgame.com.